Hey, comic book fans, welcome back to Comic Book Owner 2.0. And fans, you're with me, Mike Spider Slayer, getting ready to bring you Countdown, episode number 68. That's right, fans. This is the show where Mike Spider Slayer counts down his comic books for the week, from all the way from worst pick to best pick of the week. And today, fans, we have a total of 16 books altogether. And they're all physical copies, no digital copies. And let's just jump right into it, shall we? All right, so this week's number 16 pick, the worst pick of the week, the crappiest book of the week, and that goes to Superman Wonder Woman issue number 10. Blah, blah, blah. If this can't get any worse for Superman fans, this series has really turned south in a hurry. It started off okay, where you get to see Superman battle Doomsday, and then he contracts this virus and he's trying to contain it. Kind of reminded you of Smallville in a little bit way. But the story seems like it's been dragging on. Superman continues to try to fight the demon inside of him, and now Doomsday has this conscience that talks to Clark inside. You got Lois Lane, who's been revealed as Brainiac in here. She's the one that's caused all this chaos that goes on in Smallville and now in Metropolis because people are having comas. It's just a series that's kind of all over the place. Superman fights these miscellaneous villains. He's coming across Steel. Wonder Woman going against Lois Lane because she's Brainiac. And I just feel that as an event, this is literally all over the place. It doesn't make any sense. What's the point of it? What's going to be the outcome of all of this in the end? I don't find myself engaged with the series anymore. I'm just like, okay, so now, Wonder Woman is fighting this person, and Lois Lane is carrying Metallo's head around, and it's just insane. The best thing that this book had going for it this time around was its artwork. The artwork, I'm not going to lie, was pretty good. Even though Charles S. Daniel was not on this particular issue, again, the artwork was solid here. This wasn't even close to being a solid story. This was an issue where they felt they had to tell a whole bunch of story and cram it right here into this issue because I feel that maybe Charles Soule was the only one that tried to tell this story, and even he couldn't even save it. So, yeah, rough issue, guys. I definitely don't recommend this, and I don't recommend the Doom series. It's been a total disappointment since probably about 2 issues ago when it comes to the whole thing. So after reading this, give this one a 2 out of 5. All right, going forward, we're going to move on to number 15. And number 15 was the 100th anniversary Spider-Man issue. There was nothing here. I mean, there was a throwaway story. The book throws in this story that was created. Yeah, this is what happened in the last issue, blah, blah, blah. And then it says Great Power Part 8 of 8. So it's like this made-up story that's in its finale, and where it comes across as Eddie Brock, who's gotten killed by the Kingpin, and Peter Parker winds up doing battle with Kingpin, and we find out in the issue that Kingpin was the one that created the Venom symbiote to begin with, and he winds up wearing the suit. That's pretty much the whole story here. I think the series, or this particular issue, had beautiful artwork in it. I think it was a movie-style cinematic type of art. I thought it was really interesting. Having the symbiote being worn by Kingpin looks a little awkward. Kind of looks like a gorilla symbiote in a way. But this whole issue was basically them just pretty much killing each other. That was the extent of this story. So I was kind of like, all right, when I got done with reading it, I was like, was it worth really $4? I don't know. Maybe for some fans it was, but all it took to kill a symbiote was a stake to the neck of the symbiote of being burnt off and the Kingpin being uh, pulled away by Peter, and that was the extent of the battle. Again, I thought it was an okay issue. If you don't look too much into it, it was for kind of fun. But you know what? In a way, I kind of want to see how this would have really played out as a whole story. Maybe in the future they can come out with a trade for it and tell the whole story, issues 1 through 7 on it. So I don't know. After reading it, it was an okay issue. I give it a 3 out of 5. All right, going to number 14 this week. And number 14 was The Amazing Spider-Man Learning to Crawl, issue 1.3. It's another series where it's kind of like, what's really the point? What's going to be the outcome out of all this? Love the cover here. Love Aunt May. She's terrified of Spider-Man. It's a fun cover to look at. This particular issue here, it has to do with this character who is Clash, and he was made, a fool out of Spider-Man because they did this battle on YouTube, and he feels now Clash is like, oh, maybe I can be famous. I made Spider-Man famous, and this is how he pays me, by punching me in the face and things like that. And so he was made of a fool, and just like that, he automatically hates Spider-Man. So it reminds me of a way of the Black Cat thing. And it's funny because Dan Slott writes this issue, and he's writing Amazing Spider-Man right now. And it's like it's so easy how these people automatically hate Spider-Man because of one little instance that happens. They have this ultimate revenge on them. In this issue, you get to see Peter enter into a science fair, and it was great to see some character moments, some good artwork in here that reminds you of that classic Spider-Man feel to it. And you see the early days of Peter taking pictures and getting the camera of the Vulture, which I thought was really nice. This was my favorite page in the whole book. This was absolutely gorgeous page. I really enjoyed it. And and it was cool to see this fair that was going on and people dressing up as superheroes because that was the latest trend. So it was cool to see the costumes here. But then in the end, all it became was a battle again over a girl with it when it came to Clash and Spider-Man. So that's what I got out of this particular issue. It was okay. It's fun to read, but you can't look too much into it. But it's not necessary, to buy. And I don't know if I really think it's worth a $4 read, especially as it's been going on now for. We have 4 issues of this. We got 1 issue left. So again, it was average for me. I gave it a 3 out of 5. As more and more as this particular little sub storyline is going on within the Amazing Spider-Man series, I find it less entertaining. Because again, what am I going to get out of Clash in this? I'm not sure yet, but I guess we'll find out in the future. So 3 out of 5 for me. All right, so next we move on to new X-Men issue number 29. Yeah, you know what? I'm not a huge fan of the Brotherhood X-Men. Really not. I said that in the last issues here. And, in this particular issue, you find out how the Brotherhood is and why they act the way they do. And they were obviously under the control of Professor X or his son or whatever he was, or grandson or whatever it was. And you know what? That was pretty much the issue. I didn't get too much out of it because I really am not a fan of what's going on in this particular book right now, because I felt that to bring back all these characters after Battle of the Atom just to find out that they were under Professor X's control this particular time was kind of dumb. I thought I was like, all right, this is okay. What's the point of it all in the end, and then you get to see a relationship between X-23 and Angel, And you know, it's all right. And you find out that in the issue that Jean Grey from the future doesn't really exist. So I don't know. I thought it was okay. Same thing. It was an average grade. Me personally, not a fan of the Brotherhood X-Men here. I wasn't a fan of them in the Battle of the Atom. I thought at first they were pretty cool, but then it was just kind of like a cop out at the end of that series. So it just put a bad taste in my mouth for them. And I really want the X-Men series to move forward. Get away from this event stuff, rehash stuff already, you know, after this is only 29 issues, we're already reintroducing villains and stuff like that. Move forward, get to a different story. Let's get somewhere here. Kind of tired of the same old thing. Because when you look at Battle of the Atom and you look at this, how many issues have we talked about this Brotherhood? So we'll see what Bendis does with this. So after reading this, I gave this one a 3 out of 5. All right, so going forward now, we're at 16, 15, 14, 13. Number 12. And number 12's issue of the week goes to Grayson, issue number 1. Yeah, this is an okay book. You know, for first-time readers, I got to look at both sides of the coin here. If you're looking to get to know Nightwing, Dick Grayson this way, and you're a new reader, this might be for you to get introduced to the character as some kind of spy agent. However, for first issue, I thought it was weak. I thought that this was nothing really intriguing here to capture the reader to be, man, this was a great issue. Dude, I can't wait to read issue 2 because there really wasn't anything here. And now for Batman fans or the Bat Family fans, you're going to be disappointed. I think that Nightwing is a spy guy. We all know that his identity was, you know, revealed in Forever Evil. He's pronounced dead, and now he's the spy guy. And in this particular issue, we get to see him go out on his first mission in the series, and he goes against this. He had to retrieve this device that's in this big Russian dude, and he fights this. I don't know. I guess you want to call it this somewhat generic type of a villain. I thought the artwork was okay in the particular issue. However, I felt that it lacked a little bit of detail, and I could have done more with that. You get to learn a little bit about Spiral, which is the spy corporation that Dick works for, and you get to be introduced to Elena Bertinelli in here, which is the Huntress. And if you guys know that her identity has changed now too, she's not the typical Huntress that we all know from the past or pre-52 or from Earth 2 or whatever it's called that she's in. And you could possibly see a love interest here in the future between the two characters. By the time you get to the end of the issue, however, you get to reveal what Spiral is trying to do with the superhuman community and trying to find out who they are. So I feel that the series could have potential, but how long is it going to take to get to that potential, and if anybody's going to care at that particular point. So after reading this issue, I'm going to give this one, it's close to a 3. I mean, it's a 3, but it's in between that 3.5 mark. So I'm going to let you guys decide where that stands. But for me, it stands at number 12 this week. All right, so next book, we go on to number 11. Number 11 was Smallville Lantern, issue number 4, season 11. This book here, for me, I'm just getting into the whole Smallville season 11 series. I was reading this because it had to do a lot with the lanterns here. I thought the artwork was pretty good. It wasn't maybe my favorite artwork of the week, but I thought it was solid. And you get to see the whole thing being wrapped up with the lanterns and the yellow lanterns, the Green Lanterns versus the yellow lanterns. And you get to see John Stewart, who was wearing the yellow ring, kind of in control of Parallax here. And we get to see, you know, a few speeches made by Superman. You think that maybe there's a possible death here, but obviously not. Superman's not going to die. You get to see Green Arrow get back in action here. So, you know, there were some fun elements, and that's what you got to look at the Smallville Lantern series. Because if you're a Lantern fan, you're going to like this particular mini series altogether. And you know, I thought maybe some facial expressions were a little rough here. But again, it was fun, and you get to see all the Yellow Lanterns that were all like Gotham villains or whatnot lose their powers, they get captured, and you know, you get to see the depowerment of these rings, which I thought was an okay ending, I guess. I don't know, it wasn't the greatest. And you get to see a cool little moment here between these two, which I thought was really nice. And yeah, it's a fun book, and I'm going to look forward to seeing what could possibly happen in the future with this, because we see Lex has all of the rings now. So yeah, fun book. I'm going to give this one 3.5 out of 5. And I think that was number 12. Let me just make sure. 14, 13, 12. Oh, that was 11. Sorry, that was 11. So with that, we're going to move into our top 10. And our number 10 video, or number 10 book of the week, was Superior Foes Spider-Man issue number 13. Superior Foes Spider-Man's always a fun read. You got to like the cover here. You got Boomerang with, you know, the Kraven's vest and all the other miscellaneous supervillains on there. It's like they're wearing all the A-listers villains suits, but they're all B-lister or C-lister, D-lister villains behind the mask, which I thought was pretty neat. This issue, you know, with Superior Foes, some issues are better than others and some are funnier than others. And I thought this one kind of lacked in the humor a little bit, and it felt a little boring at times. But it did have its moments, especially with Mach 7 on here. He's trying to save one of his friends that were considered the Sinister 16 in this issue, and he's out at this store and he's buying stuff, and there's these funny moments where he tries to fit through the sliding glass door and he can't fit, and he breaks all this stuff. Just goes to the person, the store clerk. He's like, it's time to fight crime, you know. So it was pretty funny, and there's some funny references how they try to call everybody to this particular crime scene, and he's the only one that comes, you know, and they don't even know who he is. So there's some funny scenes there. And then you get to see Boomerang and Beetle and everyone make off with this painting that's supposedly worth a lot of money, but it's really not. And Boomerang's just luring them into into something that is worth value, higher value in the future. And then you get to see some good moments here by the Shocker and Silvermane, the head of Silvermane, trying for him to be this big time super villain going against Hammerhead. So this book has some good elements in here. Wasn't my favorite book, but this was a really cool page right here. I thought this page here with Shocker actually using his abilities in this series for one of the first times, I thought was really neat. And where this goes in the end, we'll see, but it was a fun issue. I enjoyed it. I gave this one a 3.5 out of 5 stars, and that was your top 10 book of the week. All right, going on to number 9. And number 9 goes to New 52's Future End, issue number 10. Cool cover. I like how these guys could be possibly working together in the future. Not 100% sure yet, but we'll see where that actually goes. And the book opens up with probably my favorite part of the series right now. The most mysterious part is Superman. Superman breaks through this building here, and he's covered up, and we've seen that for the past 3 issues, and we really don't know who he is, and if it's really Clark Kent or if it's a different type of Superman. It's kept in a mystery, so it's like, as a reader, you really want to figure out who Superman really is. Now you get to see, as the story comes along, you get to see Terry McGinnis talk to Coil and Plastique and trying to figure out how to get into Terrifictech because they want to break into this quarters. And you see Batman Beyond, Terry McGinnis, working with these guys. the thing that always cripples this story, I feel that there's too many storylines that's going on in this particular issue. We get to see Red Robin um, make this, trying to make this commitment to Madison. As you see in the issue, you get to see some moments between Amethyst and Hawkman, and this is what kind of drags the issue down. Then you get to see the stuff that happens with Grifter in the particular book and why he's with Deathstroke. They kind of reintroduce that. There's a strange battle that goes on with OMAC, and then probably the most interesting thing that happens in this issue is that you see Amico in here. And Amico, if you read the Green Arrow series, or right now, this takes place 5 years in the future. So this could be Amico that made her appearance here, if this is the right one, which I thought was pretty awesome. Hopefully it is her. So yeah, lots of different things going on here. Nothing really progressed the story at all in this particular issue. It's just more of the same and more questions. And I'm hoping that stuff kind of comes together here. There's certain elements in the past couple issues that have been making you think, but we'll see what happens here. And I gave this one a 3.5 out of 5 stars. All right, going on to number 8 and number 7. These go on hand in hand together. And this is Grim Fairy Tales, Age of Darkness, Realms 4, Part 3 and Part 4. These stories interconnect with each other. This has to do with pretty much the Dark Queen taking over all of the realms. The story has to do with this huge battle between Selah Mathers here and between all her other enemies and the Dark Queen's enemies, and possibly maybe killing her. This was a pretty entertaining issue when it came to an action-packed type of book. You know, Selah Mathers hanging on by a shoestring to survival here. We find out that a lot of characters have been killed in the particular issue, that there's a doppelganger, someone that's posing as her, killing her friends in this issue. In this particular book here, I felt that the artwork was a little sketchy. I thought the artwork had really good potential, especially really right here, but the coloring really drew it off for me. But that's what this story provided here. Again, in this part here, you get to see the Dark Queen actually make her capture with Selah, imposing to her on everything that has happened, how her people got killed, where the doppelganger came from. So she, reveals the plan to Selah and what happened. And then you get to see the Hippocorp members, which is Shang, which is her, her apprentice or her master. And you see Robin Hood, and you see Little Red Riding Hood, and you get to see all of them do battle against the evil Horde members. And then by the time you get to the end of it, you see, Baba Yaga, that's her name, right? Yeah, Baba Yaga come up and find out what has happened to Selah as well. So now she's going to have to do battle against the Dark Queen. I thought these issues were entertaining, but when I got to the end of it, it wasn't like some of the other fairy tale books that I have read where I was like, wow, this was so awesome. I can't wait to read this. I was kind of like, okay, this was good, and I can't wait to see what happens, but it wasn't like I wasn't super duper excited for it, because this is like the lead into issue 100, where supposedly issue 100 changes everything. So even though this was really good, it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. It didn't like get me so excited. Maybe because I had high expectations for it, that it kind of was a little bit of a letdown artistically and maybe plot line wise, but it was still solid, and I gave them both a 3.5 out of 5. So with that being said, now 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we're going to go on to our number 6 book of the week, and number 6 goes to Batman Eternal, issue number 14. It's another solid issue for Batman Eternal. I love the cover here. Love how the Penguin has this mark here and it's dripping down on Batman. I thought this was really good. However, this could be the last good issue, maybe for a while, for Batman Eternal, because I think what's it called? I think Robin is going to be going to um, Tokyo or something like that. But anyway, we get to see Scarecrow in the beginning of this issue. It looks like he's being captured by some mysterious hands, and you're like, okay, what's going on there? So that was a little weird. But this whole issue had to do with the Penguin and Falcone, and I thought these moments here were really, really good because they were fighting to have control. And you get to see Commissioner Gordon here questioning himself in this particular issue on if he should stay in jail or if he should escape, because he was given an offer from Junior to escape at 2:46 a.m. But again, as this issue continues, you get to see Penguin and Falcone get together and start doing battle. But this is all a setup from Jason Bard so they can come and arrest the two. I thought this was a fantastic plan on what he did. Now, there was some sacrifices made in order to do that, and Batman came face to face with Jason, saying, you know, there was men that were sacrificed in order to get this. But Jason goes to Batman saying, you know what, dude, listen. He's like, you know, we're trying to fix Gotham. We got to make it right. In order to have sacrifices, you know, in order to get things right, there's got to be sacrifices here, and I'm hoping to be allies with you. Batman kind of just escapes there. So there was great character moments there. We find out that Harper Row, or Roy Harper, no, Harper Row is actually on the actual plane with Red Robin, so we find that out because he's on his way to Tokyo, wherever he's going. And yeah, I thought this was a solid issue until you get to the last page, the last panel of the last page. You see this. You see the Joker's daughter, and I'm like, what does she have to do with this whole thing? And I was just like, great. So now I got to deal with the Joker's daughter and Red Robin going to Tokyo, because that means Batman Japan's coming back, and now we got this person coming back, which is my two least favorite Batman people. But however, when I look at this issue alone, this was a solid issue. I really liked it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. 3 issues in a row of Batman Eternal, which is really, really good. All right, so going on to top 5, right? 3, yep, top 5. Number 5 book of the week goes to Avengers Undercover. This one has to do about Nico. You see this little story about her, I guess this boyfriend that she resurrected. Artwork was solid in this particular issue. I love Avengers Undercover. I've loved it since Avengers Arena. I think Dennis Hopeless has told a nice story here overall, and he's continued it here. And we're going to find out who's going to be a villain eventually. You see our Avenger Undercover cast, you know, teaming up to try to take on Baron Zemo, and yeah, it's some interesting things that go on here. We find the ramifications that happened to Chase based off of the last issue on what Deathlock did to him, and we get to see Nico cannot really control her powers too well, or she tries to control her powers, and she can be so much better when she just lets loose. And that's when she has problems, is when she tries to control him. She tries to revive Chase, but it doesn't really happen all that well. You get to see Captain America in this book, which was nice, before the whole situation with this super soldier serum that happens in this issue. And yeah, by the time you get to this end of this issue, we find out that Cammy's in the cell because she was captured by Constrictor, and we find out that a particular person did not die 2 issues back. He's actually very much alive, and this is a huge spoiler. And let's just say that Cammy, I'm sorry, that Cammy is very unhappy about the situation, and it's Arcade. And you got to see him disintegrated 2 issues ago, but that was not him. So it looks like he's in jail with her. So this whole thing could have been a setup. It was a hologram. Something happened there. I was just like, son of a bitch. I'm like, God damn, Arcade is still in here. This was a good read. I enjoyed it. I gave this one a 4 out of 5. All right. Number 4 book of the week now goes to Fantastic Four, issue number 7. While reading this book, you're going to get emotional because you see the story on what happens between Ben Grimm and Johnny Storm, and why Ben's Grimm, Ben Grimm's attempt at becoming human failed, and that was because of Johnny Storm. He decided to go sit in the capsule that was going to change him back to normal. Well, it threw off everything because it was calibrated towards Ben Grimm, and when it was thrown off, it totally screwed up Ben Grimm, and he didn't change back to human again. So that was seen by Ben through the whole original sin thing. So Ben Grimm's pissed off at Johnny Storm and Reed from hiding the secret after all these years. I like this issue because I love the flashback, how it's a different artwork. It's more of like a cartoony type of art, like an unrealistic type of dream setting art. And then when the dream is over, or the flashback is over, it goes back into the realistic art here. And you can see the emotions between Ben Grimm and Johnny Storm, which I thought was really well done in this particular issue. But by the end of it, we see that Ben Grimm gets this phone call with Alicia and her, it's her stepdad, right? At this point, and what happens is they got into an argument. They were locked up. The next thing you see is Ben Grimm is holding Puppet Master, and you're like, holy crap! And he's sitting there going, I didn't kill the Puppet Master, but he's sitting there holding him. So I don't know what happened here, but this was a cool issue. I enjoyed it. I love the emotional piece of it. I love the artwork. I love what James Robinson's doing on this book. I feel that maybe he should have been on Fantastic Four from the beginning. So great job here. I gave this one a 4 out of 5. Okay. Top three, number 3, and that goes to Spider-Man 2099. Now this book is written by Peter David. Obviously now we all remember he created Spider-Man 2099 to begin with. And so if there's a writer that's going to write him correctly, I guess it's the guy who created him. So I thought this was a hell of a lot better than what Dan Slott wrote when it came to Spider-Man 2099. He didn't overuse that futuristic talk that that Miguel O'Hara actually uses. He's used it in the right places, said it in the right times, and that really bugged me. I just make it a point to say that each and every time. I don't think you should overuse that type of dialogue. Cover art, of course, my favorite artist, J. Scott Campbell, so I like the cover art here. Love the opening page, too. Really goes into detail about who Spider-Man 2099 is, if you haven't read anything about him. And so I thought it was really neat. And it gets introduced, you get to see the villain in this book kind of enter this time stream Terminator style, which I thought was really neat. And the whole premise of this book was this villain was to erase Miguel O'Hara from the time stream because there's all kinds of complications that happen. You get to see Miguel O'Hara's personality in this issue, which I felt that shined, especially when he went to go rent his apartment for the first time and he was talking to this landlady. I thought was really neat. You get to see a possible maybe love interest in the future with this girl by the name of Tempest here. Obviously, she cleans up or does maintenance around the apartment complex. And I thought this book had a nice amount of action in here between this crazy villain that knows everything that has happened in the time stream, that can kill people on contact. So there was lots of great elements here, and this book really surprised me was a lot better than I expected. Liz Allen is in this book, which was nice to see too, a Spider-Man supporting cast member, and she's going to be determined to find out who Spider-Man 2099 really is. So, guys, if you haven't checked out Spider-Man 2099, this is one to pick up. I really enjoyed this book, guys, and I think I'm not sure, I did a review on this. I give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Really, really good book. Check it out. Okay, so going forward, we move on to the number 2 book of the week. And what will that go to? Well, that goes to The Walking Dead, issue number 129. Yeah, I really liked The Walking Dead this week. Some fans might be saying, it's boring. I only like it when it's action. I only like it when it's death. For me, I love The Walking Dead for the story. The story is so well told by Robert Kirkman, and I give the man credit where credit is due. And he's put a 2-year time advance into the series since 127, and he makes Rick and he makes everybody all peaceful and everything's great. Civilization's coming back together. His dream has been lived, and it now looks like shit's gonna hit the fan again. But before we get that, we get to see some good moments in this book. First off, being between Negan and Rick. I thought this was a good moment between them two, the good dialogue moment, because even though Negan's behind bars and Rick is the one that's in control, they still have these word matches. It's like the battle of the brains here on who can get the upper hand. You get to see good character moments between father and son in this particular issue, because Carl now gets a job. He's going to be living at the hilltop, and you get to see that he has his little girlfriend, and he gets to bond with his father, and it's really, really nice to see that in this type of book, because you don't always get to see it. You always get to see war, death, casualties, whatever it is, and you get to see that here. In this issue, you get a good mix of zombies too. You get to see Carl and Rick fight zombies together, which you don't always get to see either. You get to see an out-of-character moment with Rick in this issue too, with him probably pretty much beating up on the guard because the guard fucked up. I mean, in all instances. And by the time you get to the end of this issue, you get to see this new group that's been introduced into the book, into the community, that comes across Negan, and Negan begs to be let out. Now, will it happen? I don't know, but if it does, shit's gonna hit the fan because Rick's not there. So we're gonna see what happens. But this was a really good book, guys. I gave this one a 4.5 out of 5 stars. For me, The Walking Dead still stays strong. Since I've been reading it from issue number 1, I love it just as much as I did, since the beginning. So 4.5 out of 5 stars. All right, so what got the number 1 book for me? Some of you might be surprised. Some of you might be like, really, Mike? Out of all these books, maybe this got number 1 for you? But this got number 1 for me because it surprised me. I didn't think it was going to be this good or this entertaining or overall fun book. And for me, it was Suicide Squad issue number 1. That's right, the other new release this week from DC Comics. And unlike Grayson, this book was entertaining. The dialogue was phenomenal. And I think this series could have potential. Now, one of the things that we didn't get in this issue was a really good introduction to characters and how this team was formed. But I think you're going to get that as the time goes along. In this book, you get a team, a new Suicide Squad consisted of Joker's daughter, Deathstroke, Harley Quinn, Black Manta, Deadshot, and was that it there? I think that was it. So I feel that in general, this is a much stronger team. And right away from this book, you see, bickering going amongst team members in this particular book. The artwork was solid here, opening up with a page with Deadshot, Black Manta. I mean, the book was great to look at. And you get introduced to Victor Sage, who is like working together with Amanda Waller to try to make this souped up Suicide Squad team. Amanda Waller and Victor Sage are complete opposites, and you see that in this particular book. And it creates kind of some humor between the two, because Victor Sage is like this laid-back guy going, whoa, we got the big badass Suicide Squad going to go out, do some mission, they're going to kick some ass, and we're going to come home, and we're going to bring home the prize. Amanda Waller's like, well, you guys, prepare for all contingencies there, Mr. Sage. What happens if they're out of control? We got to put bomb devices in their neck. We got to do this and we got to do that. And it was crazy. She's on time for the mission. Victor Sage is like 2 hours late for the mission. So it's complete opposites. And you get to see that too with the actual team members here. Deathstroke and Harley Quinn don't get along. You get to see animosity between the two Jokers there. Harley Quinn and Joker's daughter. And so there was a lot of great character moments here, a lot of good dialogue moments that I liked about it. Harley Quinn was a little bit more serious in here, causing obviously mischief and mayhem. And we get to see the mission that, the Suicide Squad members go on. And and by the time we get to the end of it, just when you think everything's all peachy keen and the mission went perfect, well, no, now you got some big Russian robot guys in battle armor getting ready to do some serious battle against our squad members. Now, some people may think, okay, this might be a little bit generic or whatnot, but I think this is just an introduction to this new series where you're going to see the squad members do some quick battle against these guys and hopefully get introduced to these characters, get a little bit more, have them learn about them more in-depthly. So, great issue. It surprised me. I thought it was entertaining. I thought it had great artwork. I thought it had nice dialogue. So, overall issue, I thought it was the best issue for me of the week. Wasn't a perfect grade because it wasn't the perfect book. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars, but I thought it was fun, and I definitely recommend this if you get a #1 book this week over Grayson. So, guys, there you have it this week. There is the countdown. You've seen the worst. You've seen the best. And as always, guys, leave your comments below on what your favorite comic book of the week was, what your worst comic book of the week was. And, guys, starting Thursday, we'll do it all over again for a new comic book week. And don't forget tonight, guys, check out Comic Frontline's Q&A live 1,000 sub special. That's at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you have the time, check us out. We're going to answer all your questions, talk about those couple #1s that came out this week. Looking forward to seeing you guys or hearing from you guys. And guys, as always, this is Comic Book Corner 2.0, Mike Spider Slayer, signing off, and I'll see you guys on the next comic book review. Take care, everyone.